What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some Social Distortion. We're back with the final tune on Mommy's Little Monster, 1982. Shout out to Paulie once again for sharing this. And the last track is Moral Threat. This is 82. I'm aware this is actually the heyday of Minor Threat, an East Coast punk band. So I don't know if there's any direct connection, but I feel like the phrase is similar enough that it begs the question. It could be unrelated, but still relate to an underground subculture, the punk hardcore subculture that is seen as threatening to the status quo, to the establishment, whether that's political, social, cultural, religious, and so on. And given the fact that the album overall is Mommy's Little Monster, the idea of a younger generation that turns into a monster, at least as perceived by perhaps society or an older generation. And again, given the post-apocalyptic look of the album cover, I wonder if this is another tune that fits very much into the themes explored throughout the album. So, as I've mentioned in a few of the reactions going through this deep dive, or this album, though I have forgotten a couple times as well, there is an inner sleeve with the lyrics on it, so after I listen, I will give that a look. So here we go. This is Social Distortion. The track is Moral Threat, and it's the final tune on their debut album, 1982, Mommy's Little Monster. Well, that was a crazy tune. I get putting that tune at the end. It was a pretty epic track, slowdowns, speed ups, false endings, really multi-phase journey through the song. I only heard snippets, just, lines like suicide, on fire, I believe the title phrase moral threat. So I'll look at the lyrics in a second, but it sounds discordant, post-apocalyptic even, which again, if I'm hearing any of that right, seems like it's very much part of the set of themes explored through the album overall. So let's take a gander at the lyrics here, if I can get the inner sleeve out of here. And once again, shout out to their iconic and classic logo. People have talked about, I remember like Jello Biafra talking about Bad Religion. I did a couple of documentary watch-alongs, but one was in '89 on a tour in Germany, and they were talking like, if you started as a punk band in the '80s, you kind of had to have a logo. That's like, every like cool punk band had some sort of logo, and I think Social Distortion has a really cool one. Even though it was never a band I knew very well, I did know very well the logo. So yeah, a good one there. But let's see, it has to be on this side. Okay, so moral threat, here we go. You beat us up when we're alone, come back later and then you're gone. Now you're tucked away in your bed. It's just now you're like possessive you're. Look, I'm an editor, I have to notice these things. Now you're tucked away in your bed and I've got stitches in my head because you didn't like my books because I'm not in the fashion books. That's interesting. Admit it, you had some fun, just remember, I'm not the only one. You made a show for all your friends, but they're not going to stick around to the end. Then you're going to think, was it really worth it when your head is rolling in all this shit? The justice system is slow, it's true, so we have to take care of you. Your only safety is suicide. Face it, buddy, to the end, it's the end of the ride. So, yeah, it sounds like he's saying, like, look, we're a new generation, we're different than you, and you can beat us up because you're scared of us, maybe it makes you feel good because you've imposed your physical will on something you don't agree with or someone that you don't even understand. I'm not in your books, I'm not in the history books that celebrate the things that, are classic and good and right. I'm something new and different. I don't dress like you, I'm not in your fashion books. But when I have the stitches in my head and you've tucked yourself in your bed, just know that there's many more like me and we're not going to stop coming, and the end of the story is not going to be the end that you want. So it's sort of a threat. It is saying, look, we're a new type of person, we're an underground generation, and we're not going to conform to your rules, and no matter how much you try to intimidate us, scare us away, or literally beat us off the streets, it's not going to be the end of it. We're going to keep coming. So it feels very much fitting in with the title, and certainly given some of the other songs in the album and the artwork aesthetic, it does seem like a perfect culminating tune for the record. So top track, it definitely, like the other tunes on the album, has an old school sound. Even the recording quality sounds a bit garage style, which I've mentioned this in some other, like Bad Religion's 8085, which is a collection of all their earliest releases, which is how I encountered it, because when I first started listening to Bad Religion, it was the early 90s, so I was catching up on their 80s stuff. But Suffer, No Control Against the Grain, the first albums of theirs that I heard, they didn't sound quite this garage. But when I eventually went back and got the 8085 compilation, I was like, wow, this is really old school. And you could tell they were like a really young band with maybe not the best equipment and so on. This album has a bit of that feel, but I don't say that in a critical way, just that, they started as a very underground DIY type of group too, from what it seems. So once again, shout out to Social D, shout out to Paulie for sending this. I do have that 1945 EP, so we'll get to that soon. Let me know what you think here, and I will see you next time. Peace.